Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1981's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osbourne. And this is a film by Walerian Borowczyk, I believe, or they called him Boro, right there, Boro. This was put out by Arrow Video. This is the back right here, Blu-ray DVD. And this is 1981, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osbourne. This was, folks, my first Walerian Borowczyk film that I had ever seen. And I have to tell you, it is definitely, and was definitely, not my last. This was my first exposure to this unbelievable director. And obviously this is a film that much like the way Jess Franco was inspired by a popular horror story and then made a whole new world, his own world with it, like The Erotic Rites of Frankenstein, which I've reviewed on this YouTube page. We have a case of inspiration here with this film as well. And when I say inspiration, I must also say inspired and transgressed, yes, into another realm, as both Franco and now Walerian Borowczyk have done here. So this is a film that is inspired by a very popular horror story, a very popular story. And he takes it and brings it into his own place. If you like the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and then redefine the elements, redefine the world, and through the sexually, violently, and relationally strange lens of Walerian Borowczyk, we get a strange movie here. It's not just the strange case, it is a strange movie, and when I say strange, I mean strange, and I mean amazing. So let's get into this film. I have some notes written up on the wall in front of me here, so you might see my eyes divert. Let's get into this 1981 masterpiece, and I'm gonna break this down into a variety of different levels, as you know my reviews do. First and foremost, the music. The music in this film right here. This is the original cover that Walerian wanted. With the actress, her name is actually Marina Piero, okay? And he's kind of like a muse for him, a Soledad Miranda for him in some other films. The music from this film wouldn't even be noted as music by most people in the common world, okay? It's atonal, it's dark, it's disturbed, it's off-kilter, it's immediately changing everything that is happening on the screen. It's sometimes abrupt. It's like a trance, a dream, a world. It's repetitious and ritualistically trance. The rhythm of climax and heartbeat and true undefined terror. The climax of the film is based on this music. Without dialogue. It would be too simple to call the climax of this film a montage, because so much of this film is the music. But the climax of this film is a crescendo of all that the score for this film is. And I challenge you to look at, as I'm looking at the back here of this Blu-ray, I challenge you to look up the score composer of this particular film, because the score composer for this film is a cutting-edge composer of noise, audioscapes from way back when. Very hard to get his music, but you'll see his name in the opening credits, and I challenge you to go into his realm of music. I believe he also did the music for one of Borowczyk's short animated films back in the day, and the name of the composer is Bernard Parmigiani. Bernard Parmigiani. He opened up a whole new world for me of experimental noise music from way back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, before it was an underground thing at all. I believe he was an innovator of sorts, and you can hear it in this film. The style of this film, oh my gosh. I mean, I can barely get off of the music, but the style of this film First off, again, the music emotionally will destroy you in a terror, oppression, power. Okay? The style of this film, ugh. Glowing skin, lights on the walls near the end of the film, reflections of light on water, very short periods of complete darkness that are actually signals of another scene where a character is about to open a door. Uncomfortable edits that are abrupt and unnerving and indicative, especially at the beginning of the film, of this film representing truly another world. Very smooth, minus some shaky camera movements, almost point of view shots at a dinner table sequence. And some shaky, actually I don't know if it was at a dinner table, I believe it was at a dinner table, but very shaky camera movements, and then we also have smooth movements as well. But you have the wild frenetic camera and also the smooth camera. It wasn't at a dinner table sequence, but it's throughout the film in varying ways. Very smooth and shaky, that paradox. A young girl at the beginning moving in the window, and the way that the butler moves near the beginning as well in the window. There's this kind of thing that's happening. Reflecting lights and glows throughout the whole film. Reflections and mirrors that look to almost be another person in the room. Okay, we even have stop motion at the beginning of the film, and I believe at the end of the film with the gates, and very montage-like in its power and execution. I will tell you that it is extremely powerfully, mysteriously done. Things will take on significance in front of the camera, narrative significance, but you're not sure of the narrative, like a sign-in book. The architecture of this film, I mean, this is a period film, okay? So we have a one mansion through the night. A staircase, many rooms, hallways, a bathroom, cabinets, a city street like Jack the Ripper, gothic, old dark house vibe, objects, like I said before, like a sign-in book, a sewing machine, a cabinet, a bathtub, a closet to peer out of, like the cover of the movie, a carriage coach. These things all take on new meanings that you can't rightfully define with words. A whipping red curtain over a dead body. Now, sexually, this is a very sexually voyeuristic and lingering film upon death and life and dance. Legs, vagina, butt, fetish, clothing, nipple, feet, wetness, explicit and yet teasing. A simple dance sequence with a focus on the lower half of the young girl. A death scene with a bird's eye view of the vagina. A hanging death scene with a very close view of the violence and the vagina. And the butt area. We have a hard penis in the film, a large, hard, erect penis. Butts. The lead, Marina Piero, very sexual with her corsets and white period gowns and her face and her mouth and her eyes. Water, the sexuality of water, the sexuality in blood, biting, licking, heterosexual and homosexual rape is in this film. We don't have gore in this film, but we have violence. We have breaking of a crippled woman's legs and breaking of glass and objects, bow and arrow, violent deaths. Philosophy and theology, yet humor, dark humor, religion and humor, science versus metaphysics, the theater of the absurd. We have hints at incest in this film, or daughter's disobedience, using her butthole, or using her butt. A level of insanity and chaos within the characters themselves that reminded me of Ken Russell's Gothic, which I've reviewed in this page. Things being done and said in a way that does not seem rational or rational to a sound mind. Father and daughter, as I mentioned. A murder of a random character. And a murderer at large, and how that plays out within this old dark mansion environment. The movements within the water. Rebellion and depravity. Freedom, wildness, openness, unbridled throwing of yourself down the freaking rabbit hole. Reminded me so much of Ken Russell's Gothic in those regards. My friends, artistic anarchy is a beautiful thing. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osbourne, and I got to tell you, definitely one of the most erotic feeling films I've seen. And I watch a lot of sexploitation and erotic cinema. But there is a level of eroticism in this film that is in your face, yet teasing. Even amidst death, and a leering eye, and voyeurism even. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osbourne. This is right here, folks. This is it. 1981, Valerian Borocek, I believe he pronounced his name. Amazing. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarre YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like this one. Feel free to check out all my other reviews in this YouTube page, including some more Valerian films up ahead. Thank you so much. Please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. And the Facebook page for the 10 Room Bizarro is on this YouTube page, on the channel page. Thank you so much, and good night.